The moment she chooses another man, something inside you wants to fight for your place. You want to ask why. You want to compare yourself to him. You want to prove you were better. You want to remind her what you gave, what you sacrificed, what you were willing to do for her. But this is the exact moment where a man either keeps his dignity or loses it completely, because when she chooses another man, the question is no longer, how do I beat him? The question is, how do I not betray myself? And in a few minutes, you are going to understand why the strongest thing you can do is not chase, not compete, not beg, not explain, and not try to make her regret it with words. The strongest thing you can do is let her go in a way that makes you respect yourself when the pain is gone. Because most men lose twice. First, they lose the woman. Then they lose their dignity trying to prove they should have been chosen. They start texting. They start asking questions. They start looking at his profile. They start comparing looks, money, status, body, confidence, lifestyle, everything. They start wondering what he has that they do not. And slowly, they turn one woman's choice into a judgment on their entire worth. That is how heartbreak becomes humiliation. A self respecting man does not compete for a woman who has chosen someone else. He does not say, pick me. He does not say, I am better than him. He does not say, you are making a mistake. He does not stand outside a door that was closed and keep knocking until he becomes smaller. He lets her choice stand. Not because he does not care, because he cares about himself too. That is the difference. When she chooses another man, your ego wants revenge. Your heart wants answers, your fear wants control, your pride wants to prove something, but your self respect has only one instruction: step her back, let her go, and rebuild, not loudly, not bitterly, not dramatically, calmly, because the way you let her go becomes the way you remember yourself. Months from now, when the emotion is not as sharp, you will look back at this moment. You will either remember that you begged, compared, stalked, argued, and tried to fight another man for a woman who already made a choice, or you will remember that even while it hurt, you stood tall. That memory matters. Because you have to live with yourself longer than you have to live with her decision. Most men think letting her go means losing. It does not. Sometimes letting her go is the first moment you stop losing yourself. When she chooses another man, it feels personal. Of course it does. It feels like she looked at you, looked at him, and decided you were not enough. It feels like everything you gave did not matter. It feels like your love was compared and rejected, but you must be careful with the story your pain tells you. Pain will say, he is better than you. Pain will say, you are not enough. Pain will say, you have to prove yourself now. Pain will say, if you do nothing, she'll forget you. Pain will say, if you let her go, you are weak. Do not believe every thought that pain gives you. Pain is loud, but it is not always wise. A man becomes strong when he can feel pain without letting pain lead his behavior. You may feel jealousy, you may feel anger, you may feel shame, you may feel replaced. You may feel like your chest is heavy and your mind will not stop showing you images of her with him. That does not make you weak, it makes you human. But what you do next determines whether you become stronger or smaller. If you chase her after she chooses him, you teach yourself that your value depends on being picked. If you compare yourself to him, you make him the ruler of your confidence. If you beg her to reconsider, you train your mind to believe love means competition. If you insult her, you become bitter. If you insult him, you become insecure. If you stay calm, step back, and rebuild your life, you become dangerous to the old version of yourself. That is the man you need to become. Not dangerous to her, not dangerous to him, dangerous to your own weakness. Because the real enemy is not the other man. The real enemy is the version of you that thinks another man can take your worth. He can take her attention, he can take her time, he can take her interest, he can take her choice, but he cannot take your value unless you hand it over. And men hand it over when they compete for a woman who has already chosen another direction. Do not compete. That is the first rule. When she chooses another man, do not try to outperform him in front of her. Do not post things to look richer, happier, stronger, or more wanted. Do not make your life a performance designed to make her compare. Do not turn your healing into a message for her that is still chasing. You may not be texting her, but if every move you make is secretly for her reaction, she still owns your attention. A high value man does not build his life as a billboard for a woman who left. He builds because his future matters. He trains because his body matters. He works because his purpose matters. He sleeps because his mind matters. He improves because he refuses to let rejection become his identity. That is real power. When she chose him, maybe she expected you to chase. Maybe she expected you to ask what he has that you do not. Maybe she expected you to get jealous. Maybe she expected emotional messages. Maybe she expected you to show her that she still has power over you, but you did not. You let her go. You felt the pain, but you did not perform it. You wanted to react, but you chose discipline. You wanted to compare, but you came back to yourself. You wanted to prove your value, but you remembered that value does not need to beg to be seen. That is masculine self respect. And self respect is not loud, it does not need an announcement. You do not need to message her, I'm letting you go. You do not need to say, good luck with him. You do not need to write a mature paragraph hoping she sees how strong you are. If the message is secretly designed to get a reaction, it is not strength. It is another form of chasing. Real strength lets go without asking for applause. You simply stop pursuing, you stop checking, you stop asking, you stop explaining. You stop placing yourself in emotional competition with another man. You remove yourself from the triangle because a man who stays in a triangle becomes part of the drama, and drama destroys masculine peace. Your peace must become more important than proving a point. This is where many men fail. They think letting her go means they are allowing him to win, but this is not a fight unless you enter it. If she chose another man, she already made her choice. Your job is not to win a competition she created. Your job is to decide whether you will still respect yourself after her decision. That is the real battle, not him, not her. Can you stay calm when your ego is wounded? Can you stay disciplined when your heart is hurting? Can you stop checking when your curiosity is screaming? Can you stop comparing when your insecurity is trying to control you? Can you let her go without becoming bitter? That is what makes a man, because any man can act confident when he is being chosen. The real test is how he acts when he is not. If a woman only sees your confidence when things are easy, that is not confidence, that is comfort. Real confidence is what remains when you are rejected, disappointed, and still refuse to act beneath yourself. That is the kind of confidence you need now. You do not need to prove you are better than him. You need to prove you are stronger than your urge to chase. That is the shift, because comparison will poison you. You look at his profile and you start measuring yourself. Is he taller? Is he richer? Is he better looking? Does he have a better car? Does he have more confidence? Does he make her laugh more? Is she happier with him? Did she choose him because I was not enough? Stop. That road has no peace at the end. Even if you find something you have that he does not, you will still be insecure. Even if you find something he has that you do not, you will feel worse. Comparison keeps your attention on another man instead of your own growth. A strong man does not ask, why him? He asks, what does this reveal about my standards? Did you ignore signs? Did she keep you confused? Did she enjoy your attention while her interest was somewhere else? Did you overinvest before she proved consistency? Did you make her the prize before checking whether she had the character to match? Did you confuse chemistry with loyalty? Did you give husband level energy to someone who had not earned that place? These questions hurt, but they build you. Because the goal is not to beat the other man, the goal is to become wiser. If she chose another man while keeping you emotionally attached, that tells you something. If she let you invest while she was drifting somewhere else, that tells you something. If she made you feel like an option, that tells you something. If you accepted uncertainty because you were afraid to lose her, that tells you something about you too. Do not ignore the lesson because you missed the person. Missing someone does not mean they were right for you. Pain does not prove compatibility. Jealousy does not prove love. And being placed second is not a romantic challenge. It is a warning. A self respecting man does not fight to be promoted from backup plan to first choice. He leaves the position completely. That is how you let her go. You do not leave with hate. You leave with clarity. You say to yourself, if she chose another man, I will not chase her into seeing my value. That sentence is powerful because it puts your dignity back in your hands. Now, let us talk about the first 24 hours after you find out. This is the most dangerous window. Do not message her. Do not message him. Do not check his profile. Do not ask mutual friends about them. Do not post indirect quotes. Do not upload a picture only to look unbothered. Do not send a fake mature text like, I wish you both the best. If what you really mean is, please notice how calm I am. Do not perform strength. Live it. Real strength is not what you show her. It is what you choose when nobody is watching. It is putting the phone down when your hand wants to check. It is walking outside when your mind wants to spiral. It is writing the message and not sending it. It is breathing through jealousy without letting jealousy become action. It is telling yourself, I am hurt, but I will not humiliate myself. That sentence can save you because humiliation after heartbreak often begins with one weak decision, one message, one call, one profile check, one emotional post, one question to a friend, one angry paragraph, one moment where you let pain take the wheel. A man must learn to pause between emotion and action. That pause is where self respect lives. When jealousy rises, pause. When anger rises, pause. When fear rises, pause. When the urge to compare rises, pause. When the need for closure rises, pause. Because not every feeling deserves a response. Some feelings deserve discipline. Some feelings deserve silence. Some feelings deserve a walk, a workout, a prayer, a journal page, or a night of sleep. This is how emotional control is built. Not by pretending you do not feel, by feeling it and still choosing your values. Now understand this clearly. Letting her go does not mean you stop caring instantly. You may still love her, you may still miss her, you may still wish things were different, you may still hope she realizes what she lost. That is normal. But you do not build your life around hope. Hope can become a prison if it keeps you waiting where you should be walking. A man can have a little hope in his heart and still move forward with his feet. That is maturity. You do not have to hate her to let her go. You do not have to erase the memories. You do not have to pretend she meant nothing. You simply stop sacrificing your dignity for someone who chose another direction. That is all. When you let her go correctly, you do not make it dramatic. You do not need closure from her to begin healing. You do not need an apology before you start rebuilding. You do not need to understand every detail before you move forward. Sometimes the choice itself is the closure. She chose another man. That tells you enough to step back, not enough to hate her, enough to stop chasing. There is a difference. A bitter man says, she is terrible. All women are the same. A weak man says, please choose me instead. A strong man says, I see your choice and I choose myself. That is the line. I see your choice and I choose myself. Say that to yourself when the pain gets loud because the old version of you may still want to fight. He may still want to ask why. He may still want to prove something. He may still want to wait in the background in case she changes her mind. But you are not a backup plan. You are not a safety net. You are not a man standing by while she explores another option. You are not emotional insurance. You are a man with a life, a future, a body, a mind, a mission, and standards. Start acting like it. This is where the 7 day reset begins. For the next 7 days, do not message her first. Do not check her stories. Do not check his profile. Do not ask mutual friends about them. Do not post to get her attention. Do not post to make him look small. Do not make emotional decisions at night. Do not reread old messages until your chest hurts. For 7 days, train your body. Handle your work, fix your sleep, clean your room, eat properly, drink water, walk when anxiety hits, write your thoughts, but do not send them. Pray if faith is part of your life. Put your phone away before midnight. Build your schedule like your future matters, because it does. One woman choosing another man does not end your future, but your reaction can damage your future if you let it turn you into someone you do not respect. This is why discipline matters. Discipline is how a man tells heartbreak, you can hurt me, but you cannot lead me. The first few days will not be easy. Your mind will keep pulling you back. It will tell you to check just once. It will tell you to compare just once. It will tell you to see if she posted just once. It will tell you to find out whether she looks happy. Do not obey. That is not information. That is addiction wearing the mask of curiosity. Every time you check, you reopen the wound. Every time you compare, you weaken your frame. Every time you ask about them, you give your attention to a story you need to leave. Every time you post for her reaction, you admit she still owns the stage inside your mind. Take the stage back. Your attention is your power. Where your attention goes, your energy follows. If your attention is on her, him, their life, their posts, their possible happiness, their possible problems, then your energy is not building your future. It is feeding your pain. Protect your attention like a man protects his home. Not everything gets access. Not every thought gets time. Not every urge gets obedience. Not every memory gets to become a decision. This is how you become steady. And a steady man is hard to replace, not because he tries to prove it, but because he carries himself differently. He does not chase, he does not panic, he does not compete, he does not beg, he does not turn rejection into a public performance. He suffers privately, rebuilds quietly, and returns stronger. That is masculine maturity. Now, maybe you are thinking, but what if letting her go makes her forget me? Listen carefully. If you have to keep chasing someone so they do not forget you, then they were not choosing you from the right place. Real attraction does not need constant begging to survive. Respect does not grow from pressure. Desire does not grow from desperation. If she can only remember your value when you are constantly reminding her, then she does not value you the way you think she does. Let her feel the absence. Let her experience the choice. Let her see what life is like without your attention, your warmth, your consistency, your emotional availability, not as punishment, as reality, because most men never let reality happen. They keep interfering, they keep texting, they keep showing up, they keep making themselves available to a woman who is unavailable to them. Then they wonder why she never feels the loss. You cannot be missed if you refuse to be absent. That line matters. You cannot be missed if you refuse to be absent. And absence does not mean childish disappearance. It does not mean blocking her to get a reaction. It does not mean posting revenge content. It does not mean acting like she never existed. It means you stop giving access to someone who chose another man. You step back with dignity. You let the silence breathe. You let your life move forward. Now, what if she reaches out? Because sometimes she does. Sometimes the other man does not become what she imagined. Sometimes the excitement fades. Sometimes reality replaces fantasy. Sometimes she realizes your patience, your stability, your loyalty, and your presence had value. Sometimes she reaches out because she misses you. Sometimes because she feels guilty. Sometimes because she is lonely. Sometimes because she wants to know if she still has access to you. And this is where you must be careful. Do not confuse her return with her growth. A woman can come back without changing. A woman can miss you without respecting you. A woman can send a soft message without having serious intentions. A woman can regret losing your attention without being ready to rebuild trust. So if she reaches out, do not collapse. Do not punish her. Do not rush. Do not pour your heart out. Do not immediately ask, what about him? Do not act like you have been waiting by the phone. Stay calm. If she says, hey, how are you? You can respond with control. Hey, I'm doing well. Hope you are too. That is enough. You do not need to open the whole wound immediately. You do not need to ask every question right away. You do not need to prove how hurt you were. You do not need to show anger to prove you have standards. Standards are not proven by emotional reactions, they are proven by calm boundaries. If she wants real access to you again, she must show real intention, not curiosity. Not boredom, not loneliness, not guilt, not a late night emotional moment. Real intention, watch consistency. Does she communicate clearly? Does she take responsibility? Does she respect your pace? Does she show genuine interest in repairing trust? Does she understand why her choice changed the dynamic? Or does she simply want your attention again while avoiding accountability? A man with self respect can tell the difference. And if she brings confusion, you step back. If she wants emotional comfort while still dealing with him, you step back. If she wants to keep you as a backup option, you step back. If she wants you to compete again, you step back because you are not a safety net for someone who chose another direction. You can be kind without being available. You can forgive without returning. You can listen without lowering your standards. You can still care and still say, this is not right for me. That is maturity. Most men think power means being cold. It does not. Power means being clear. A clear man is hard to manipulate because he is not starving for approval. He can hear a woman say she misses him and still watch her actions. He can feel old emotions rise and still move slowly. He can remember the chemistry without forgetting the reality. Reality matters. The reality is she chose another man. That does not mean she is evil. That does not mean you need to hate her. That does not mean you carry bitterness forever. But it does mean something changed. Trust changed. Access has changed. The way you move must change. If you let her come back too easily after choosing someone else, you teach her that your standards are temporary. You teach her that your pain can be erased with a few soft words. You teach her that choosing another man has no real consequence. That is not love, that is weakness. A man who values himself does not make re entry cheap. He does not punish, but he does require respect. He does not beg for explanations, but he does need clarity. He does not hold hatred, but he does remember the lesson. That is how you protect your peace. And peace is what you must protect right now, not your ego, not your image, not your need to win, your peace. Because a man without peace becomes easy to control. He reacts to everything, he reads into everything. He gets pulled by every small signal. He lets one woman's choice become the lens through which he sees his whole life. No, you are bigger than this moment. You had a life before her. You will have a life after her. And if you use this correctly, you will have a stronger life because of what this revealed. It revealed where you were attached. It revealed where you ignored signs. It revealed where your discipline was weak. It revealed where you made her attention too important. It revealed where you needed stronger boundaries. That is not failure. That is information. Use it. A weak man uses heartbreak to become bitter. A strong man uses heartbreak to become sharper, sharper in his standards, sharper in his discipline, sharper in his emotional control, sharper in his ability to see people clearly, sharper in his ability to walk away when respect is missing. This is not about hating women. This is not about playing games. This is not about pretending you do not feel. This is about becoming a man who does not abandon himself when someone else chooses differently. That is rare, and rare energy is remembered. She may remember that you did not chase. She may remember that you did not insult her. She may remember that you did not compete with him. She may remember that you did not collapse. She may remember that you became quiet, focused, and harder to reach. And one day, if her new situation does not give her what she imagined, your reaction may echo louder than your words ever could. But do not live for that day. Do not make her regret your mission. That is still giving her control. Your mission is you, your body, your work, your money, your discipline, your faith, your emotional control, your future, your standards. Build so deeply that whether she regrets it or not, you are no longer waiting for her regret to validate you. That is freedom because the real win is not her coming back after choosing another man. The real win is becoming a man who no longer accepts being placed in that position. The real win is becoming a man who can say, I wanted her, but I will not compete for her. The real win is becoming a man who knows that love without respect is not enough. The real win is becoming a man who refuses to let rejection turn him into a beggar. That is the man you are becoming, and yes, it will hurt. There will be nights when your mind shows you images you do not want to see. There will be moments when you wonder if she is happier. There will be times when you question whether he is giving her something you could not. There will be days when your pride burns. Let it burn, but do not let it drive. Pain is not an instruction. Jealousy is not an instruction. Loneliness is not an instruction. A memory is not an instruction. You can feel all of it and still choose dignity. That is what separates men, not who gets hurt. Everyone gets hurt. The difference is who becomes stronger from it and who becomes smaller. Do not become smaller. Do not let another man's presence shrink your identity. Do not let her choice convince you that you are not enough. Do not let rejection make you chase a place where your value is not honored. Stand tall, even if you are standing alone. Sometimes standing alone is the first sign that you are finally standing correctly because when you stop chasing, you stop bleeding energy into a situation that is no longer yours. You stop begging for attention that has moved elsewhere. You stop trying to prove your worth to someone who already made a choice. And slowly you start feeling your own strength again. At first, it will feel like loss. Then it will feel like space. Then it will feel like peace. Then it will feel like power. That is the path. Do not rush it. Do not numb it. Do not perform it. Live it one disciplined day at a time. When you want to check, do not check. When you want to compare, come back to your own goals. When you want to text, wait. When you want to post for attention, put the phone down. When you want to hate him, remember he is not your mission. When you want to hate her, remember bitterness still keeps you attached. Choose your freedom because a man who is truly free does not need to hate the woman who left. He simply no longer hands her the power to define him. That is strength. Now ask yourself honestly, what would chasing actually do? Would it make her respect you more? Would it make him disappear? Would it make you feel proud tomorrow? Would it make you stronger? Would it create a healthy relationship? Or would it only give you temporary relief while damaging your dignity? Most weak decisions feel good for a moment and painful later. Discipline feels painful for a moment and powerful later. Choose the pain that builds you. There are two kinds of pain in this situation: the pain of self respect and the pain of self betrayal. The pain of self respect is when you miss her but do not text. It hurts, but you sleep with dignity. The pain of self betrayal is when you chase her, get ignored, and hate yourself afterward. Choose the first pain. It is cleaner, it is stronger. It turns you into a man letting her go. Like, this means you do not chase her, but you also do not chase hatred. You do not romanticize her, but you do not demonize her. You do not deny the pain, but you do not let pain become your personality. You simply return to your life. And if your life feels empty without her, that is your next lesson. Build more life, build more purpose, build more discipline, build more friendships, build more skill, build more strength, build more faith, build more of the man you respect. Because if one woman leaving makes your whole world collapse, then your world was too small. That is not an insult. That is a wake up call. Your life must become bigger than the person who left it. When a man has a strong life, love becomes part of it, not the whole foundation. When love becomes the whole foundation, every loss feels like death. But when love is part of a full life, heartbreak still hurts, but it does not erase you. That is what you are building: a life she can leave without destroying, a mind she can no longer control with silence, a body that carries discipline, a routine that protects your peace, a future that keeps moving even when your heart is heavy. That is how you let her go. Not by acting like you do not care, by caring about your future more. So tonight, if you are sitting there thinking about her with another man, listen carefully. You do not need to chase. You do not need to compete. You do not need to prove anything. You do not need to know what they are doing. You do not need to make her jealous. You do not need to make him look small. You need to come back to yourself, put the phone down, breathe, walk, train, pray, work, sot, meeb. Do one thing tonight that your future self will respect, because discipline is how a man tells heartbreak. You may hurt me, but you will not humiliate me. That is the energy she did not expect. She chose another man, and you let her go with dignity. You chose silence with self respect. You chose distance without bitterness. You chose pain without performance. You chose growth instead of jealousy. You chose yourself. And whether she comes back or not, that choice changes you, because once a man learns he can survive rejection without begging, he becomes different. Once he learns he can feel jealousy without competing, he becomes different. Once he learns he can miss someone without chasing, he becomes different. He becomes harder to break, harder to manipulate, harder to pull into chaos, harder to make insecure, harder to turn into an option. That man is remembered. That man is respected. That man is free. So let her choice stand. Let the other man be the other man. Let time reveal what words cannot. Let your absence speak. Let your discipline speak. Let your growth speak. Let your silence speak. And while it speaks, build a life so strong that you stop needing her to regret anything. Because if she comes back, you will meet her with standards. And if she does not, you will keep walking with direction. That is the real power. Not chasing the woman who chose another man, becoming the man who never has to chase someone into choosing him again. Because after she chooses someone else, the question is not how do I get her back? The question is how do I keep myself, keep your dignity, keep your standards, keep your peace, keep your direction, keep your self respect. Let her go like a man who understands his value. Let her go like a man who does not compete for uncertainty. Let her go like a man who can love deeply and still walk away when respect is missing. Let her go like a man who knows that losing her is painful, but losing himself would be worse. And in the next video, you will learn the quiet signs she regrets choosing another man, and how to handle her return without becoming the desperate man she expected you to be.